Okay, so far what I've done was I've made join domain a member of the local administrators group. We've also gave join domain modifier rights to the remote install folder. And lastly, we copied boot WIM and install WIM to the local documents folder for join domain, and we verified they have write access. We already had System Manager installed. Now we're going to open that up. So we have these things called components. And the components for a Windows 10 box is going to be different than the components for a Windows Server. So what you need to do is you need to right-click here and select a Windows image and add the install WIM. It will examine that install WIM and create a catalog of the type of questions you can answer with this image. Click open, and I want to choose the second item. That's what we're going to install. I want to click OK. What does that little shield mean? User access control. Back in Windows XP days, when you create that first user account, you had admin rights. So if you got a virus, the virus had admin rights. So with Windows Vista and later, they came up with this concept called user access control. So basically, when you create that first account, it's going to be an administrator account. But it doesn't run as an administrator account. It just runs as a normal everyday user account. You can't make changes to the C drive. You can't make changes to the system settings. But when you see that shield, it's giving you a warning that when you click yes, it's going to elevate that account to an admin account. So I'm going to click yes. It's saying user access control. Well, this is saying user account control. I think it's called user access control. Click yes. And this takes a couple minutes.
But it's asking for user password. Yeah, administrator.
Okay, listen. I need you to reboot, and for anyone who's asking for user account information, try to reboot. Yeah.
Go out the hardware machine on your virtual machine. Right click WDS. On the Hyper-V machine on your virtual machine, right click WDS. You can reset.
You go to every user and then do join domain, page one. But you have to do it without.
Sign in and then because you might have to sign out, then sign into domain admin and then reboot.
That did fix my server issue.
Thank you.
I'll explain. Let me explain what was going on. Hey, when I had you sign out and sign in to the domain admin initially, you guys didn't do sign out. You switched user. So what happened was, while join user was already signed in, you had changed join domain's group membership. You made him an admin. Well, join domain wasn't aware that he was an admin yet because he was already signed in. So if you change group membership of a user account, you have to sign out and sign back in before that user is aware that it has these new rights.
You already signed up.
So I got an
So
error.
if I got it.
It says that it wasn't able to generate
Yeah,
the
just say you
catalog.
joined the
Okay, if you can't generate the catalog,
I just got the PA1.
it's because that file doesn't have uncheck read only. Because if that's read only, you can't write.
It's unchecked though.
Yeah, I have it unchecked as well. And it's still got the same thing.
Weird, I had it unchecked and it was checked. I had unchecked it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go over there. Select window.
Mine's unchecked. I got
Install
it.
it. Second one? Oh shit, I have not. The second one. Oh. I just realized I know.
This doesn't work, I'm just gonna have you reboot. Yes.
Retry it or?
You can retry it, but I think a reboot's going to be needed. Wait,
Reboot the virtual machine?
wait, hold on 1 second.
Well, even
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Okay. Not all 80Ks are equal. I'm going to go back to 80K 1603 or 1608. So I'm going to go to,
I can't sign in because.
okay, 1 second.
Should I stop mine?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to go to right here on the start menu. I'm on uninstall Windows Deployment Kit. And then we're going to reinstall it, but use 1603 or 1608 or whatever the one.
It's gotta be 18.
What if we're still doing
Okay, did you create the user account?
Yeah.
Yes. And you told me to create the user account and
This was not working, that's why we.
No, it worked.
Oh,
It just got to the end and then it didn't work all the way at the end though.
So should we stop it now?
I don't know. It might work. It might work.
Well, try it.
Yeah, it
wait,
might
wait.
work.
Okay.
That's why I can say stop it.
You said download the 16?
1603, 1608, 1607, whatever it is. I'm going to pull it up.
We did 19, so.
We did 1903.
Did a 1607?
Okay, that's the one I want. I'm going to do Windows 80K for Windows 10. I'm going to go down to the one that says blog. I'm going to choose the top link here. Then I'm going to go to other 80K downloads. And I want this one.
Download it?
Download it, install
Is it? It's like just deployment sounds right.
it. Let me see. Wait.
Which one was it? This one? This one.
You don't want to start that one?
First one over.
Go down.
Yes, you did that. It said it's
Right.
Oh, right.
Get you back into, you come back and you do this.
Wasn't that one?
Let's go back.
There it is on the left one.
The MSDN
Oh,
right
so you
click.
put that.
Then order
Okay.
patient,
Rest.
then go down to
Thank you.
It's like ID key for Windows 1607.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, just wait till I get up there. So I can make sure we choose the right options. Okay, try signing. So I'm gonna choose. I know there's glitches with these two. I didn't even try this one. Now I know there's a glitch with, I didn't try this one either. I know there's a glitch with 1903. This one I know is clean. It works. So I'm going with this one.
It's the left one.
Yeah, the left.
I got the same message.
You have to close out that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Click next. Choose those two.
Windows P is huge. It's almost 4 gig.
Just let it go. If you go on the internet, there's always little hacks that people tell you can do to get it to work. I'm not bothering. 1607 works. All I'm using it for is just to create an XML file. Okay, this is 4 gigs. It's going to take a while. Do your Dunkin' Donuts run now. It's just going to sit here and take a while. We're all hitting the same server at the same time.
So you want me to download it now?
Yep.
I'll go to Google.
Go to Google, look for, try to do this. 80K for Windows 10, 1607. I'm going to pause this.
There's no one received. One search. Yeah, you're done.
I'm going to unpause, and it's done for me. I've installed 80K. I'm going to go back in and launch Window Kits, Windows System Manager. I'm going to select the image again. Install Wim. Second image. Click yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Which one?
I got the same recipe.
Okay, let's go here for you. No, this one.
Oh.
Go into Documents. Right click. Properties. Click OK. I'm not sure why it's doing this. This for, you installing which version?
This was,
1607?
yeah, the one that we just done,
Try to reboot the machine.
1607.
Professor, which one did you have to choose?
Windows kit.
Did you install it? Yes, I already did. Okay.
The Wagner doesn't know this stuff, only your.
I said the accent.
Oh,
And the irons with the food. And tomorrow I'm gonna have one that I'm food.
That's that time you got home.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. I didn't get. I'm gonna try to reboot.
Didn't work?
Didn't work for me, but it worked for.
Is that?
That worked for me.
When in doubt, reboot.
Right. Please work.
This is 1607.
Right.
I rebooted and the ADK is completely gone.
I'm gonna look at mine in a moment. You got window kits? Let me see where this is located. Go to this location. x86, Windows files, x86, Windows Kit 10, and drill down until you can find imagemanager.exe.
Mine is when I try to open up the toolkit, I get this error.
My name is go up.
You know what? Maybe it was just the one
window is that?
Yeah.
Try to reboot.
I just did. The whole everything, I did it. I rebooted it.
The only thing I can say is uninstall or reinstall it.
Uninstall and reinstall. Got it.
The ADK thing. Uninstall, reboot, reinstall. That's what I'm going to do. If this doesn't work for me, same thing for you.
Me too.
Uninstall, reinstall.
I mean, like, every time I look at sports,
I'm going to reboot between installs. And I'm going to re-download ADK. I'm not going to use one of these. I'm just going to delete these.
You want me to delete both of them?
Delete both of them. Oh, no, that's not those. The install. Uninstall this and reinstall it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, but this is the 24th. You didn't reinstall it. Uninstall this, download the new version, 1607. Okay, press join them. So say no with there. Sign out and sign in as domain admin. You gotta fix that account first.
Could it be the install file? That's causing it? Installed out of Win?
I mean, you could try to delete that and copy it over again. While this is waiting, let me pull up this. this is actually, if you could take a picture of this, this is a good article about what we're about to do. And it really is very complete. I'm gonna go check. On the latest version of Android, if I go to the camera app and hover over a URL, it'll give a little link, and you can click the link and it'll open the page for you.
Okay. Are you using, and you're running Android 10 right now? Right?
Yeah.
The one I'm using, they wasn't like support the newest Android anymore.
I'll go back, Charlie. Okay, yeah. So you just hover over the picture and it, you click the link to open it. Yeah, I think this is like an Italian guide, because based on the domain names and stuff he chooses, I think it's Italian. So this is where we're at. We're at this stage. We can't get past it. Oh, it worked for me. Did you try to reboot, Eric?
Yeah, I tried.
Did you delete install it?
Yeah.
Recopy it?
Mm-hmm. And then unblocked it.
And have you tried uninstalling and reinstalling? And with a reboot in between?
No, I haven't done that.
Listen, when you try that, make sure that you use a different installer. Re-download the installer.
Okay. Now, should I install Windows PE as well?
Yep. I know with 1607, if it wasn't there, listen. Here's the glitch with 1607. I kind of avoided it. This is the file we just created. It's a catalog file. We only need this file. But if it doesn't see bootwim in the same directory, it gives you an error. So the solution for that error was just to make sure bootwim is in the same directory as installwim, like it is on the DVD, and it works fine. Even though we're not using bootwim. So I copied both, made sure they're both right access.
I got the same error again. But I have this in my WDS, this error right here. I think that's what's making it not work.
No, that just means your WDS server is not running, but we're just creating a text file. That shouldn't have any. That won't have any bearing on what we're doing.
Yeah. But I restarted, or uninstalled, restarted, and then reinstalled it.
Can I try like 1703 or a different version?
Yes.
1703, I knew felt miserable. Listen,
I'm finished. No. So close it and.
You install it?
Right.
Try again, open it up. Okay, here's what I can say. I know your screen looks different than mine. I'll have you fix that in a moment. I'm going to create two files, Eric. You can just watch and I'll give you the two files on D2L. So anyone who's not working, I'll give you the files. At least you'll see how it's working. Let me just make sure I'm recording. I am. Okay, so guys, for anyone who can't get it to run, I'll give you the files after I'm done with them. So I want you to right click and say new answer file. And you'll get something like this. Then say save answer file as inside your mode install folder, call it Windows Server 2019 WinPE.
Right click.
So I right click,
Yeah.
highlight this, or just click File, Save As.
Target people that it did work for?
I'm sorry?
You target people that it did work for?
Right.
What do you do after new answer file?
File, Save Answer File As.
File, save answer file.
Go to the remote install folder and save it there.
What folders? Local disk. Remote answer file, or remote install, I mean. And save it.
The reason why that was able to work is because you made join domain and admin, and he is actually.
Oh, Professor.
Okay, no problem. Go to remote install. Are you done with this?
Yes.
Go to remote install, double click, and say save. Welcome. Okay, so guys, Windows has 7 stages, 7 passes for the installation. If you remember when we deployed last time, we saw 2 distinct parts. The first part was the copy phase, where we selected the image, created our partitions, signed in as the admin account. That's the WinPE section. So we're going to do the answer file that answers what language we want to use to do the install, what image we want to grab, where we want to grab it from, all the things like that. So that's going to be in this WinPE stage. So I don't remember this, so what I do is I pull up another answer file. So I'm just going to follow another answer file. So we're going to expand these components. Now I can do answer files for 64-bit machines and 32-bit machines. We need to make sure that we're sticking to the 64-bit components. Don't scroll down and choose this WOW 64. This is for titanium processors. We want to make sure that we're sticking to the 64-bit AMD. So what I want you to do is look for something called, let me make sure I'm in the right area. I'm not. Windows, Microsoft Windows International, Core PE.
Core WinPE?
Core WinPE. Right click, add to pass 1. So when you add that, it adds all the child objects as well. These containers are empty right now. So I'm going to go to UI language. What language do we want the user interface to be in? EN-US. I don't know if it's case sensitive. I don't want to test this.
You said EN-US?
EN-US. That's the language pack. After that, I'm going to click on the parent object, And for the input locale, English. For the system locale, English. The UI, English. The fallback language, we also want English. This has the ability to do the installation to add drivers. How to layer drivers. Like if you have a special SCSI card or RAID card in your machine and you need to add drivers for it, you can manually add those drivers, then we can do this. But if we don't have any drivers and we add it, it gives us an error. It'll crash our installation. Because we're not adding any drivers, we're just going to leave that blank. Listen, I'm showing you this because you need to know this. I'm not going to have you do this on the day of the test. I'm going to give you the answer files on the test. But I want you to, if you're creating answer files, you need to know this is a tedious process. Microsoft tricks you and calls it automatic deployment kit. There's nothing automatic about this. So I just want you to be aware of how to create an answer file. That's my goal here. It's not for the test. So if you don't remember every little component, no big deal. I don't remember them. I look them up. So we're going to next look for a component called Microsoft Windows Setup. We're going to expand that. And we're looking for Windows Deployment Services. And you're going to add that to the WinPE pass. Remember, the first thing it asked us was, what language do we want to use when we did the installation? Now it's asking us, the next thing it asked us is, what image do we want to install? So for image selection, do you need me to come back? Okay. So I'm going to go to WDS. So I'm going to the server manager, go to WDS. I'm going to drill down till we see our images. Then double click it. Copy the description. And paste it here under image name. Want me to go back to WDS?
Yes.
Okay. Go to WDS, go to servers, your server name, install images, image group, then double click the image and copy that.
You try uninstall the ADK?
You won't let me on, you don't know.
Have you tried to reset outside the virtual machine?
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried to reset it after in their actual machine?
Everything.
Yeah.
Saying, I tried to install it and it messed up all the installing
It was already there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Try to log out and then log back in.
Install image.
in the join domain it doesn't allow you, you go to the control zone administrator.
That's where I was. That's where I was trying to go.
Then go back join domain and reinstall it.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is grab, guys, this utility will actually allow us to highlight just the text. So I guess they took that in mind when they were copy that name.
Lisa, where did you have the first one, the description?
Image name. And then for the file name, we'll put install.wim or whatever your name is. Guys, remember I told you if you copy over 4 images, it might not be called install.wim. It might be called install1wim or something like that. So make sure you copy the one that you're using. And the last thing we need is copy your image group name.
We can't type it. We can't just type that in, or we have to copy it.
You can type it in.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, just
okay, so
New.
file. Save as. Save file as.
Yeah. No, I mean, you should uninstall it and then install it because it's ready to install.
Yeah, but it's not letting me uninstall it. This will let me do it. It gets to the end and then it says something's missing.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to do is go to login click on credentials, type in Contoso. Because remember, we're going to deploy these images as join domain. Contoso, our password, and join domain, all lowercase, for the user account name and domain name. Yeah, I tried to So when we were doing the installation before, it asked us what image we want to install, and we had to sign in. So now we're going to click on the install to. Disks are numerated starting with 0. So the first disk is 0. Partitions are numerated starting with 1. The first partition is going to be that EFI system partition. So we can't install one there. We need to install Windows on the second partition. When we did it graphically, it created 3 partitions. The recovery partition, the EFI, and the Windows partition. We're not going to bother creating the recovery partition. In production environments, you're going to have backups. You're not going to be like a home user that needs to go into recovery. If you need recovery, you can put it on a thumb drive. So we're going to install it on disk 0, partition 2. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is create the partition. Under Windows, Microsoft Windows Setup, expand disk configuration, expand disk, expand create partition, then highlight the other the second create partition. Add the past one, then do it again. Because we need to create 2 partitions. One for the EFI system partition and one for the Windows partition. Guys, I doubt it you've ever done, you manually created EFI partitions before, so I'm going to show you how to do that.
It's alphabetical. It's alphabetical. So for Windows 7. After Windows, it's alphabetical.
I'm going to expand modify partitions and add that.
Twice or just once?
Twice.
Oh.
So basically, I'm going to create 2 partitions, then format
Scroll.
them.
Yeah, there. No, past it. There.
Do you have to do it in that exact order?
You gotta open
No,
these.
it'll
Disk
do it in the
configuration.
right order when it copies it over.
Disk
The order in which we do it is not
configuration.
necessarily the order in
Disk.
which it's read.
And one more, create a partition, open it, and then copy that. Do that twice. Yeah. One more. Yeah.
I want you to highlight the disk field and say disk ID is 0. I'm showing you something you don't need to do it. If I click here, press F1, there's awesome notes. There's awesome help for this. Right now, if we create a new machine, the disk is going to be blank. So the first time you do it, you don't really need to wipe the disk. But if you make a mistake and have to do it a second time, those partitions from the first time will still be there. So you'll have to wipe. So I understand not everyone can be perfect like me, and you might have to do this twice.
True.
So I'm going to choose true. Because if you have to do it again, you want to wipe the partition. First time you don't need to, but so for disk 0, we're going to clear out any partition that are currently there. Then we're going to go down to the first create partition. The first one we're going to create will be order 1. I'm going to make it 150 gigs. If you plan on doing a bunch of dual boots, you might need to make it bigger. and the type is an EFI. As soon as I put EFI, it's going to know to format it GPT and not MBR. GUID partitioning table versus master boot record. Master boot records are used in Gen 1 machine, GPTs, and Gen 2s. So now I'm going to go back to the other crate partition. Order is 2. Type is primary. And extend is true. I'm not going to specify a size. I'm going to say use the rest of the hard disk. I'm sorry, did you ever, I just realized I didn't help you. We needed to, are you sending this main admin?
Hold up. You said you're gonna send it as a file, right?
Right.
Create that one.
This one, create this one. Create
So instead of specifying a disk size, I'm going to say use the rest of the disk. Extend it to the end of the disk. So let's go to the first modify partition. Order 1. It's going to be FAT32. The EFI is FAT32. And it's going to be partition ID 1. In this case, we don't have to specify the type. When it sees a GPT partition, it knows the type. We don't need to specify this as the EFI. I don't know if you remember when I showed you the disk type, that big GUID, and we went into disk part and we did help set ID. Those are the types that it's referring to. So now I'm going to go to modify partition, the other one. Order 2, partition 2. We're going to give it a drive letter of C, a label of system or Windows, whatever you want to use. It's going to be NTFS. The only problem is it's on a GPT partition, so it's going to assume that it's an EFI. And we don't want that. We want to be able to write to it, because if it uses that EFI partitioning ID, we won't be able to do anything to that partition because it blocks us from doing it. So what we need to do is just get the basic partition ID. So I'm going to open up a command prompt. Sorry, I'm going to right click PowerShell, go more, and run as administrator. Actually, we're not making changes, so we can just run a normal one. Do disk part. Oh, we did need to run it. It automatically elevated us. Type in disk part, and then type in help set ID. Scroll up. Type this part, then help set ID. By default, with the GPT, it automatically uses this ID. We need this one. The one that starts with EB. Be very careful, don't copy any spaces. Okay, guys, and again, if you're not caught up, I'll give you the answer files. Incidentally, guys, it's also the example at the bottom. Type exit, exit, and then paste it in. Con, if you want to type, you can type that if you like. I'm all about cut and paste. For the first part of our, to the reboot, this is all it asks for. Partitioning information, what image we want to install, who do we want to sign into, what language we want to use. So guys, save, then click this little checkbox.
Why are we copying the set ID?
Because by default, it's going to try to make it an EFI partition. And look what happens. Let me show you. I'm going to go to disk management on my real machine. This is an EFI partition. This disk is GPT. It's a GPT partition. Look when I right click the EFI partition. I can't get anything off of it. I can't make it, I can't mount it, I can't delete it, it blocks you. So it tries to create all the partitions on EFI like this. If I go to properties here, I can do things to this disk, or I can't do it to the others. I need to make it this type ID. So guys, I'm going to click validate. You should get no warnings or errors at the bottom. Make sure you save it. Then we're going to go back to WDS. Because you copied too much. So all this stuff you're not using. You see how it's empty?
Yeah.
So you can't, it's asking why do you want to answer questions where you're not supplying the actual answer to. Okay. Okay.
So, see that box is empty? Yeah, highlight it. You can't have an empty box. So go over here. Type E and marker. Hyphen. Good. Now validate. Now file. Okay. Yeah, guys, you can't have any empty boxes.
So go to WDS, highlight your server, go properties. Jessica, we fixed this last time. Jessica, click on the TFTP tab and uncheck this box. Okay? And the rest of us, go to client, and we're going to enable unattended. For some reason, students think I'm saying unattended installation. And under this x64 UEFI architecture, Gen 2 machines, browse for that answer file. Look what folder drops us into. Right into the remote install. Then click OK. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to create a new virtual machine, and we're going to do the installation. If everything goes well, we won't until it reboots, we won't be prompted for any questions.
Oh, this one.
Can you send that answer file then?
Yeah, okay, right.
Yes. So for those people that don't have the answer file, I'm going to upload it. So for those people, you want to download it on your WDS. Because I'm going to put it in the PowerShell. Okay, I've uploaded it. So guys, I'm going to go back to my real machine. I'm going to go to Hyper-V, new virtual machine, test 03.
Is with PE answer file?
The one that says 2019,
Oh, okay.
not the 2016. Guys, you can't take an answer file from 2019, use it on 2016. You have to kind of rebuild it. Because there's GUIDs in there and stuff that won't match. It's going to be generation 2, dynamic memory. Remember the RAM disk, so we're going to boot to 2048. Connect it to the private switch. I'm going to let it create a blank hard disk, nothing special on hard disk, and boot to the network.
Yeah, use that.
Then finish. I'm going to connect to it first. Press start. It's waiting for approval. So where do I have to go for approval? If you don't see it here, hit refresh. Name and approve. I'm going to call it test 01. No, this was 03, right?
Yeah.
03. And just walk through the wizard.
Access denied.
Go to pending device. Yeah, that's one. Right click it. Name and approve.
Wait. I know what the problem is. I'll fix it in a minute. Guys, go to your DC. Go to Active Directory Users and Computers.
Right, two. Click on two on the right.
Me? No, I'm already here.
Oh yeah.
It's trying to pre-stage the computer account, but it doesn't have rights to write the computer account in the computer container. So it can't write into here. So we need to allow join domain to be able to write to this folder. So I'm going to delegate control. Type join domain. Customize task. Nothing here. And say full control. Charlie, are you here? Next, customize task. Nothing here, no changes. Full control. Finish. Now try to approve it again. Name and approve. Test 03. Take your second break. Okay. Guys, I should have delegated that control back when we first set up the account, but I didn't.
My toolkit's completely screwed up.
Don't worry about
It
it.
won't let me uninstall or uninstall or nothing.
Cancel. Just go download that file and put it in your remote install folder and use that. I can't spend 3 hours trying to diagnose an issue that.
Yeah.
When we're naming and approving, are we putting anything in there?
Test.
Test03 is the name, and then what?
That's going to be set up. That's going to set up a environment. Nothing else. Walking through the. So for right now, go to your WDS.
Okay, this is what I'm
I messed up.
Yeah, it should have. In case I missed something.
Just draw it.
You approve it?
It's already been.
It should be, I understand the first thing.
My answer felt
Where's your first?
I don't remember what we did the answer about.
Did you do the second, right? You put the second one?
I remember when I get here, you tell us to go there and hold it.
Go to this PC. Paste it down. Okay. So, click that blue finish systems. Test 03. Next. Next. Oh no, go back. Into 2048. Dynamic 11. Next. Bottom option. Yeah. Go to WDS. Now go to the system. Tools. WDS. Windows Deployment Services. Go to Allergy Service. Expand. Allergy Service. Right click.
When we did the login, do you remember when we did the login, that's Contoso,
Yeah, that's fine. That's all right.
I don't know.
Check this box. Browse.
I went back to the entry box, I gave it
Is that the one you just?
login
Okay.
credential. Down. Yeah, he said it, I had it right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, mine didn't really, mine like, didn't go on. Mine did this.
Test ready.
Stop sharing.
Oh, there it is.
Start.
Yes.
So you can minimize this. Now go back to the machine, go back to items.
No.
Click it again. Now go to test
There you
ready.
go.
Back to action.
Is it going?
That's pretty much what I do understand about IT. So remember, I told you that go back to the virtual machine, it should be a system also different at the IT. No, so.
This is specifically on login, like if they, or on
No, that
credentials?
wasn't the main part.
That's the only
I
place where I
figured
would
this
have
out
put that
private.
information, yeah, was like here, and it stops it at the login, I'm not supposed to go to login, I should just like go through like, you
Yeah.
guys did.
Back to WDS.
Right now, it's-
Anywhere else?
See?
So
Stops
that's
here.
Back to
Can you close on anywhere else? I don't think.
pending devices.
I'm not trying to download this file.
Name approved. Test three. Access all the way through.
So guys, so far, it hasn't asked me for anything.
It asked me for something.
Okay. What did it ask you for?
Login,
Listen, go back to your answer file,
I did,
okay, and you have a typo somewhere.
okay.
Okay, so let's maximize this. There you go.
No.
Tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to.
File, open.
If you leave space from the command prompt, then would that make that happen or not?
That's where I would be pulling it from, right?
Right, right.
In the right place here?
It is.
Weird.
And did you type join domain, Contoso /join domain when you authenticated?
when you did it manually. Go back to your image while you're trying to install. Okay.
It's not supposed to do that though, it's supposed to go straight through, right?
Oh, did it ask you for authentication?
Yeah, this is what it is.
Oh, it's asking language.
Yeah.
So we're not at the authentication part, so let's go back to our answer.
Oh wait, okay.
Cause once you did next, it pops up, right?
Yeah, it pops up after
Okay,
when I hit next.
so we screwed up here, so let's go here, English, US, go up higher.
Mine is also asking me
Yeah,
for
I was gonna
language.
say, I got that too.
Download my answer file. There's a typo somewhere, some hidden character, a control character, a space, there's a typo, that's all it is. Here's what I'd like to do. When you have a hard time finding a typo, sometimes it's easier to spot inside Notepad++. So I can right click here, edit with Notepad++, and then you can see the typo. Sometimes you might have a space or something like right here.
But didn't yours just ask for language too, though?
Mine asked for language after the reboot.
Okay, never mind then. I'm at the same part. I got confused.
Okay, because that's a different answer file.
Okay.
Now we're doing the Windows portion.
then I'm good.
Okay,
So
that's
this
what
is,
I'm
we just got through the first portion, which is, he's getting the answer file at WinPE, not here. He's getting an issue. So you can look at your answer file using Notepad++, because it might be easier to spot the error.
Okay.
Guys, I don't care about this machine,
Delete it.
okay? Okay, I'm gonna take a break and then we'll come back and then we're gonna create our second answer file for after the reboot.
Yeah,
So
turn it
we
down.
can delete, oh,
Did yours, at the very first screen?
Yeah,
another
turn off.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you need to take a break.
Oh, no.
Which I look for.
That's for Cloud, I can't remember what it is. It's in WDS?
Make you download it, which download.
No, I've been trying to work on my own.
Oh.
Because he said to open it in Notepad++.
Yeah, but yeah, go into your site, no, that page,
This one?
the kit page, yeah. Okay. And yeah,
Or most
you're
stuff.
supposed to.
So just for accident.
So we get control. But you had answered something before this?
No.
Oh, okay, so you're good. Your answer file's good. Next. Add. Join the main. I don't care if you answer any of that. We just wanted to get to.
Should be all the numbers.
This is later?
Yeah, I just totally didn't see.
Okay.
Next. Create. At the bottom. Next. Full control, check it. Next. Finish. Try to name it, go back to your WDS and name and approve again.
Where do we go for the, to approve the installation? Like to answer this?
Thanks to you go into DC. No, I mean WDS.
Where was the answer file?
Right. You go into
Put it in,
Download.
remote install.
And that's under
C drive.
and then you go into Windows deployment services.
I think that's what's gone.
I believe is in the in this area somewhere. Yeah, you go on server manager.
Can you have that out?
Tool.
AMD.
It's gone.
And you can see your token.
Yeah, mine got screwed up.
Should be seen.
That kit like screwed everything up.
Version scope is.
Or if you try to click in local server and then tool.
Let's restart the password, please.
to reset your WDS again.
Well, maybe if I do control management. It'll let me.
Yeah, try again. Try to reset it. You just add, because it seems like you being the regular user instead of administrator, because it doesn't allow you the full option.
Did you find your typo?
Yeah, I had picked WoW 64 instead of AMD 64.
Oh, okay.
Well, he helped me find that. I didn't find that.
Guys, I'm going to create the next answer file. If you want to do it, I'm going to upload it on the server. That's good, you can do it with me. If you want to just download it, that's fine. And just watch me. Because I want to get through this part tonight. Next time we come, we're going to be doing something, creating nano servers with no graphic interface. These are the commands. Okay, that's just to create the hard disk. So it's just a lot of typing. The lab in the book, Ronnie pointed out, they tell you just grab your nano disk and just put it in the machine. Well, they kind of skipped a few steps of how to create the nano disk. So we're going to do four types of installs. The normal one off the DVD, the WDS one, which we're doing now, the nano server install. Then we're going to install it in a container using Docker, which is getting real popular right now with cloud service. Has anyone ever heard of Docker before? It's basically, you can take an application, put it in a container, then you can copy that pre-configured application to a bunch of different machines.
Container manager?
Yeah, you can, well, a container manager is your command prompt. And then you can use something called Kubernetes to cluster all those containers together, and you have one point of management. So if you want to make a configuration to that application, you make that one configuration and it does it to all the containers. So like if the application is a web server and you have 30 different web hosts, you don't want to go to each one and change the configuration. You can change it on one. So it's where we're going to with computers. Virtualization and containers. That's where everything is at. Okay, so guys, I'm going to go and create a new answer file. And maybe look at the right one. So I want to, on this bottom part, I want to find Windows shell setup. I need to add this. When I do, it adds all this. I don't need all this. I just need the top. So I'm going to add this to the specialized pass. I'm going to go to the computer name. You know when we do the name and approve, the name we put in there, it passes that name into the virtual machine, or the real machine, whichever you're deploying to. It saves it as a variable called %, machine name, %. It's very difficult when deploying images to set the name. This is a nice feature that allows you to set the name using that name and approve. We want to set the time zone. So these were things that asked us during the process, process after the reboot. Guys, I'm going to go to a browser. KMS, WDS, keys. Remember, we don't have product IDs anymore because Microsoft doesn't want to put them in our hands. They want to give one to the network admin, and they're put in the KMS server. So how do we do installations if we can't get a key? I gotta find the keys.
Need the standard key that Microsoft provides?
No, there's a special one for KMS installs. And I gotta find them. So I did a search of KMS deployment keys, and I'm going to scroll down until I find the 30 different versions of Windows Server that they have nowadays. The one we're using is this one. Long-term service support or something like that. These are the version of Windows that have no graphic interface. So this key cannot be used to activate your machine. It can just be used for deployment. And I want to paste it right here.
Wait, Professor, where did you go again?
Do a search of KMS deployment keys and click on this Microsoft dock. Long-term servicing branch. Windows Server, long-term servicing channel, long-term servicing branch. We want this one. If you're deploying 2016, use this. Okay. We don't need any of this. Guys, if you want, you could configure auto login. If it's like a kiosk machine, you can apply a theme. You can install certain Windows feature. Listen, you know how when you buy a HP laptop, there's all that junkware? If you're deploying an OEM like HP machine to an HP machine, and you get their information about their OEM ID. That OEM software doesn't come with the machine. When they boot it up the first time, it downloads it off the Windows store. So if you supply the Windows ID, the model number and all that information, the OEM ID and all the information about that model, it'll redeploy all the OEM tools as well. If there's any special OEM drivers, it will download those as well. So there's a lot of things that we can do. You can customize how this looks. I'm not doing that. I just need that.
Did you delete it all?
I deleted everything but the top line. But when you add the top line, it adds all child objects, so you have to manually delete them. You can't leave any empty boxes. So the next thing we're going to add is OBBE. What does OBBE stand for? Out of the box experience. After you boot up a Dell laptop that you buy brand new, you don't see it partitioning everything. That's already done for you. What you see is after the reboot, where you have to put in your user account name, your password, etc. That section is called mini setup, or OOBE, out of the box experience. You get a new laptop or a new computer, that's what it looks like. That's what we're doing those questions right now. So we want to right click this and add it to the OOBE system. We want to get rid of this. Do we want to hide the end user license agreement? Yes. Do you want to hide create local accounts? Because remember, with Windows 10, it tries to force you into getting a Microsoft account. Do you want to have them register on the HP website? We're going to hide that. Do we want them to create an online Microsoft account? We're going to hide that. Do we want to hide the wireless setup, where they need to connect to a wireless network? If this is on a laptop, I might not want to hide that. But this is not a laptop. So which network location do we want to use? Home, work, or other? What do they mean by, what are these network locations? It's your firewall. If you choose other, that means you're deploying this to be used in like a Starbucks, and your firewall is going to be very tight. If you deploy this with home or work, the firewall is going to be more relaxed. So we're going to choose this for a work environment. We don't have we're not going to deploy for laptops or anything like that. Okay. So we want to protect your PC. If you don't remember, during the installation, ask how do you want to download updates and things like that. And there's 3 options, 1, 2, or 3. Well, if you don't remember what those options are, press F1. Number 1 specifies that important and recommended updates are installed automatically. Specify that only important updates are installed. Specify that automatic protection is disabled. I'm going to choose number 1, to automatically install important and recommended updates. The last thing we need to do is user accounts, administrator password. Guys, if you want to create additional accounts, you can do that here. On Windows 10, if you were deploying a Windows 10 image, just set in the administrator account password will not help you because the administrator account is disabled. If you don't do this right, you can deploy a machine with no user accounts, and no one will ever be able to sign in. So if this was Windows 10, I would create a local user account, set up the password. But I don't need to create a local account. This is not Windows 10 with Windows Server. Our administrator account won't be disabled. So I just need to add this field to set the password. Add it to OBE and the password. Guys, if you look at the answer file, all the passwords are encrypted. It's not a very good form of encryption. It's crackable. Has anyone heard of the concept of rainbow tables? A rainbow table could be like a 100 gig file. And they've taken every possible combination of passwords they can come up with and encrypted it. And they gave you the encrypted value. And then you take the encrypted value in like an answer file and compare it to that rainbow chart and find out the real password that they had. They're called rainbow tables. They're large. Guys, look at this. You can move this from side to side. And it doesn't help me. And you know, trust me, you can find them. Oh, well, here's a whole bunch. NTLM, New Technology License Manager. These are Windows passwords. These are old Windows 95. MD5, depending on which encryption you're using. SHA-1. So, like right here is mixed alpha and numeric. Lower alphanumeric, save some disk space. Guys, if I had a just lowercase password, 8 digits big, it will be 26 possible values, 8 digits big. So 26 to the 8, that's how many possible password combinations you can have. Seems like a big number, right? It's not to a computer. It can whisk through those values like that. So what if I did upper and lowercase? 52 to the 8. A lot bigger. What if I did alpha, lower, uppercase, and numeric? So 62 to the 8th. It starts getting exponentially big. Or let's say you did 10 keys. Let's do 72 for symbols. 72, and let's make it 10 characters big. You know, these aren't really big numbers, but you know, they look like big numbers, but they're not really. Computers can go through those. What's more secure? Tell me which password is more secure. No. Who's going to remember that? It's going to be stuck on a notepad in the front of someone's monitor.
I've remembered a password like that before. It's possible.
It is possible. It is possible, but remember in the workplace. So don't go overboard and make it too complex. Because at that point, a lot of times, best passwords are like a movie title, just the first letters. Then append to that some, like a pound something, and then the name of the site. You don't want to use the same password every single time, so you have some sort of convention. Like your favorite movie, just the first initials, or the first two initials. Then after that, hash, then the name of the site that you're going to. Or maybe 2 words, 2 of your favorite words, and then in between that have the site name. Like enclosed in, a pound symbol or something.
What about a passphrase?
That's good. Give me a name of an Avengers. Give me a name of a good movie. Like Brooklyn. Has anyone seen that?
No.
It's a good movie. So I can do, this will be my base password. Okay, so all my passwords start with that, let's say. And so this is going to be the password for live.com. Or discover.com. So every password is different, but there's a convention to it. So the only thing I have to remember is my favorite movie and just enclose it. But I've replaced the O's with zeros. I made the first letter uppercase. Something like that. Could be a book. Could be a phrase from a movie. It could be a phrase from South Park that was funny. Something that's easy to remember.
There's like a website that tells you how long it will take for your password to get cracked, right?
I went to a hacker thing, and it was run by the government, and they allowed us to use this software that we wasn't allowed to download. You put in your name, and it will search social media and try to hack certain accounts like Amazon, Facebook, Google, and I put in my wife's name. I couldn't hit fast enough. I couldn't hit enter fast enough before it signed us into Amazon.
Wow.
By searching Facebook and stuff like that. And it was government software. And I'm telling you, it got into most of my accounts, but my wife's accounts, across the board, everything. I was just watching. It was like, okay, good. This credit card, that credit card. Okay. It got into her Ulta account, her makeup, to get makeup. As women know this, have you ever gone into a makeup store and watched them buy makeup? You guys are getting ripped off. $50 for a lipstick or a blush. They need to be. I just wanted to slap those. You really? I mean, that is so expensive. I was like shocked.
Doesn't she?
Huh?
She looks nice afterward, right?
She does, but I don't know. Dinner would have been better. No, it's expensive. Makeup is expensive, and you know how, like, women in shoes. I had my daughter explain this. Men don't get why women like shoes so much. She goes, think of it as an Android phone. Shoes are like, to women, are like Android phones are to guys. It's just the way it is. So every time you go shopping, you got to think. When she sits there while you're at Best Buy, you gotta sit with her in the shoe store. Okay, guys, this is all we need. This is all it asks us for. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to do this Windows Server 2019 OOBE. Just I'm going to upload this to D2L. I don't know if it'll work yet, but it's not, though. I'll explain.
Okay.
So if I validate it, it says this is depreciated. If you don't put it in there, it'll crash. Because it'll prompt you for that setting. So let me go back here and I'm going to add it to PowerShell. Okay, so once you have it done, we're going to close this out, go into Windows Deployment Services. Now, that first answer file we created had nothing specific about Windows. That could be used on Windows 10, Windows Server, Windows 2016, all the same settings. This answer file is very specific to Windows Server 2019. So instead of linking it up here like we did, we're going to link it to this. We're going to highlight our image, go to Properties, allow image to install in unattended mode, browse for the file, remote install, OBE, and click OK. Guys, if you make a change, you have to go back to WDS and re-upload the answer files. So I'm going to go back to Hyper-V, create a new virtual machine.
Which file have you uploaded again?
I uploaded the OBE.
Okay.
Test 04, Gen 2, dynamic memory with the boot memory of 2048, private network, boot from the network. Connect to it, power on. Waiting for approval. Now this one, it's important to put it in the name because we're going to try to set the computer name and join it to the domain at the same time. Test 04. So hopefully my installation will go completely through without any intervention on my part. The only thing I had to do was do the name and approve. It's called light touch. On top of WDS, we can install additional software like Config Manager or Windows Deployment Toolkit and do a lot more than what we're able to do here. Yeah, but anyways, that hacking software was really nice. It just, I mean, it just went in and found password after password, and there wasn't anyone in the class that didn't have an account that, at least one account that was discovered.
They now have those, that online thing where you can just put all your passwords in there and it'll remember all of them for you.
Yeah, like LastPass, I use Chrome to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you heard of a software called Can Enable?
yes, that's good for doing ARP poisoning, for like man-in-the-middle attacks. It basically, an ARP address is your layer 2 address, and it allows you to hijack someone else's ARP. Instead of two computers in one network communicating with each other. In a switched network, you can't hear that traffic. But if you do an ARC porting, you make each computer think you're the other computer by poisoning their MAC addresses. They'll send you the traffic and everything will go through you, and at that point you can capture it and do something with it. Call it a man-in-the-middle attack. The only thing about Cain-Enable is the only hacking software that's Windows only.
Oh, really?
Everything else runs on a Linux box, except for that. So not a lot of people use it because, you know, most of the Windows, the hacking tools are on a Linux box.
I fell a little behind.
Okay.
I'm trying to get test score to read the file, but I don't remember how to make it do it.
Right click this. Properties. And check the box. I select the file. Yep. Click OK. Click OK. That's it.
Thank you.
Now, create a virtual machine, boot it to the network. So now we've done a WDS install. This is the last time we're going to do this. We're going to next do the Nano server, and then we're going to do Windows Core and Nano server using Docker. Docker is that they bring it at the end of the book, so I'm going to move it up while we're doing all the other installs. Then after that, we're going to start doing disk partition and storage pools. So this is still the WinPE portion of the installation.
There wasn't a name for that software that you saw at the convention? They don't say what do they use that for, or they just have that?
They didn't tell us, they told us that we weren't going to use it. We weren't going to have it. We weren't going to be told anything about the software. And that we are more than welcome to ask questions as long as you understand that they're not going to answer any of them.
Mine actually asked me for the language after the reboot.
Oh, we didn't put that in the answer file. Oh, we skipped something. We didn't put the language in there?
Not in the second part.
Oh, I skipped a whole section of this file.
It still works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it still works.
Yeah. I mean, we missed the section, but it still works.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fix the answer file, but
If I just hit next, will it automatically answer the next couple questions?
Yeah, it finishes the install.
yeah, it will finish it, but I'm gonna just add those real quick. And I'll just re-upload the file. Guys, instead of being International Core WinPE, just International Core. See, I do this stuff intentionally so you guys feel that when you make a mistake in class, it's okay. You're welcome. So I'm gonna open up that answer file. And I'm going to add International Core to the specialized, no, the OBE. Guys, on this one, you don't put the fallback language. I just had problems with it, so I skipped it. I'm not sure whether the fallback language isn't installed or that it matches
WDS.
the first language, but it gives me an error. Validate it. I know that's not depreciated, it's good.
No, the WDS. Not true.
So guys, once you do that and you make a change, reselect the file, because it doesn't keep it here. It stores in it here. So when it selects it here, it moves it here. So just if you make a change, you have to go and re-add it. The thing is, this is a known computer. I could just reboot to the network and let it do it again. It'll wipe it out. But look at this. It didn't. It didn't accept this either. So some things didn't work. That home or network, that should have worked. Every time there's a new distro, there's always little glitches you have to work out. While I'm waiting for that to finish up, look, guys, if you want to just take a regular installation disk and install it normally, then install all the software that you want on it. I think Eric is using this method. Once you get it in,
Box experience.
yeah, and then when you're done, you run a command called sysprep. But before you do that, you can go here to Windows, Panther, unattend, and create one answer file. That includes just really much the second part of it. And save it in a folder called unattend, sysprep it, upload that to your WDS, and then deploy that. So you can deploy an image with software already added. The only problem with this is, if your answer file is wrong, you have to rebuild the whole image to replace the answer file. I prefer to keep the answer file out of the image. It gives me flexibility. If I need to update it, I don't have to recreate an image, upload it back to the WDS, and test it again.
It's good if you don't want to do system updates, if your company uses the same laptop.
Okay, so guys, I don't know what failed there. More things failed than just that. It's not joined to the domain. It did set up the host name. So, guys, I'll work on that answer file and I'll upload a good one. I'm not going to have you, again, I don't like to try to resolve issues with new images in the class. So I'll work on that. There's some issues we still have to work out. I don't know if it's really issues or just that one failure made the others all fail. So I'm just going to redo with the same machine, test it again. Okay, guys, that's it for today. We're going to do nano servers next time. I might run through this one more time if I get all these solutions worked out. But you're free to go. How many people are doing the hackathon this weekend? Okay, so also Friday and Saturday.
What time?
1 o'clock Friday through 1 o'clock Saturday, 24 hours.
And what's actually done there,
Whatever you do.
people try to make programs or hack things?
All kind of things. A lot of people come with social solutions to problems that they come with. You know, like last year, a guy made a picture of. He made a little app that you take a picture of it. It'll recognize the breed of the dog and stuff like that. If you see a lost dog, you can take a picture of it and would upload it to a server and tells as much information about the dog as I can, but just a picture. You don't have to type anything. So you can quickly just take a picture of a dog and upload it to a server if your dog was lost. So they called it BARK, and that was an acronym for something else. You know, so it's stuff like that. Oh, another kid. These were high school students. These high school students took a picture of a sign, and it would vibrate the braille on their phone. So if it was a blind person was coming to a sign that had no braille on it, they could take a picture, and then it would do the dots for the braille, using the phone vibration.
How would you know the pictures? How would you know the pictures?
I don't know. These were 15-year-old kids. I thought it was pretty good. But they might be able to feel, there's something here.
They're taking a picture of their face.
Oh, and listen, Shanana, if you wait a second, I have this.
So for like you said when is Oh, okay.
But don't wait till the end.
Yeah, I got it.
You're opening yourself up to a lot of
Go ahead and get that textbook. Literally, I had told her I'm not interested. Have you ever quizzed yet? Have you ever quizzed yet?
You mean
You said right, yeah.
Yes.
Oh wait, so there's alright. Because the thing is, I found I was on Google and just trying to search because on your certified, you don't like doing it, you just sometimes highlight the question and Google it.
Right.
But some of the questions you can are not on Google. You have to kind of like read different blogs and stuff.
Right.
But I found like a textbook that basically has the exact question and it has the answers for the question.
Damn.
Exactly, word for word. And I'm like, and it has it for this class. This is part 1 of the class.
Right.
There's a book on the link. I can email it to you or something.
Right.
There's part 1 of the class, part 2 of the class, part 3, and it has textbooks and all the questions on each of the
Right.
class.
So all the answers is on like
all of it.
Damn.
And I'm just like looking like, there's no way. So
yeah, that seems like that's the thing I use for my Cisco class. Like it's called itsm.net. So it has like all the exam.
It's what I have is learning.o'reilly, something like that.com.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but I can actually send you the link. All you have to do is just like make an account. But I can send you the link.
So if you want, I can drop
Free.
this.
So that's the only reason I got it. So let me. You got your BC email?
This is
Yep.
in the
Okay, so I'll BC.
Thanks.
Alright.
These two go
I
together.
just sent it to him, so I'm like, I didn't send it to anyone else I know.
Or this.
Alright, send it.
Okay. There's another issue with the number of
Right.
portions doesn't match, but that's fine.
Drafts.
So you're good with this, with the 1390?
So it's the textbook, technically.
I mean,
technically,
No, because to get a grade.
oh no, I don't think you have like. I think we just need a textbook just to like, do quizzes because we only have 10 days.
With
So
these two
like, you do all the
portions,
quizzes and stuff,
And then.
and the post assessment right there and then. You don't necessarily
Okay,
need a
but
textbook.
post assessment.
Okay, and so
Huh?
I'll
Oh,
see
yeah.
that,
You
everything
just
is
click
fine
on,
as far as the
each
other
one
stuff,
and click the post
but,
assessment.
Right.
uh,
Yeah,
I
what
think
you
you need
need
to
to
do it on that one.
in order to do all the
Okay.
quizzes and
Yeah.
stuff
So,
like goes
listen.
to
Actually, I have a
use it
question
fine.
for you.
But it's
Yeah,
not
you can keep this
like
without-
linked into
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
What's your BC email?
LU
Okay, I forgot my question that fast.
8.
8.
8, right.
I take it you're teaching these next classes right here?
Yes.
Are these split up into,
First and second.
thank you. Yeah, and so those are mainly so it can work out for my job. Okay.
And then you need first and second, so you only have to focus on one at a time. Do you want me to keep the online class on there as well, in D3? Good, okay, that's.
I only did it as a filler. I was like, I need another class.
Oh,
and
the app just cracked.
screw
That's
me up
great.
financially. But
The app just over.
this is what happened last time. I
Alright,
had to pay
I'll
for my
go back up.
classes because they were like, oh, you're not taking enough.
Okay,
I'm like,
that's it, right.
I told them so, I
Use
had another
Android.
question.
Yeah.
What's up? What Android are you using right
So I
now?
wanted to like specialize in encryption.
No, I mean,
Like,
do
we
the
have
version.
something in our background
Is
that
it Windows 10?
helps with like,
It's not that I know I need to update it.
What do you want?
Messed up.
I mean, some of the phone,
And what
Android, they
kind
not
of
support
security do
anymore,
they need?
like the one I use.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
trying to
use
work
two
for
phone
anything
actually.
security.
So I use
There's
the
so many,
Android
like-
as a backup
You're-
one. So, but
gonna be hard
mostly,
to find a
mostly I
job.
use
I think
iPhone.
so.
I
know.
Yeah, it's like, because like, as you know,
Everyone is all
iPhone,
popped up
wherever
in
you go, they
security
have the chargers,
classes.
you know.
And the
But
thing
with
is,
iPhone,
I just can't
my
find jobs.
Oh, okay.
USB port
You
is
know,
like USB
not every
C.
company,
I
large
see.
ones
Yeah, I know
hire
exactly what you're
security
talking
guards.
about.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
And
So that's why
you're
I'm
not gonna hire
kinda
someone
mixed
right out
up,
of
like
school.
when we're like,
Okay.
especially when we
So
go
what I
charging.
recommend
you forgot
is
it.
getting.
So-
You're like a USB-C, you're like, you don't need micro USB.
I had a feeling that was
Yeah.
going to be the case.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so you get employment, and
Okay,
you wanna,
it was
you know,
LA.
because I have people
LU.
right now complaining to the
LU.
president
Oh.
that they did all these classes and they
V.
can't get a job.
H.
Over and over again. And so I got an email this week where my,
But
not my
mostly,
dean, my dean's dean
So
is
the
now having
phone
to
I'm
go
using
defend
right
the
now
security
is
degree.
like by Google,
And
Nexus.
I fought the
CP.
security degree, my old boss
Yeah,
fought the
Nexus
security degree,
CP1.
and they fired.
So it's no longer
So now
support
they're
the
in that
Android
scenario
more. So
where they're dealing
I went
with
on
this
the
issue.
website called XVA. You know that website, right?
The
X.
For those people that work in the
Mostly
industry,
that forum is
they
for
did the
Android
security
user.
degree.
So they
No
build like custom
Those
ROM.
people that didn't,
Yeah,
they
they
don't
do
have enough
custom ROM.
networking background
Yep,
to
you should
go.
look it up.
But if you can do the networking at the
And
TS
all the
level,
all the application I use.
But,
Really? You can just modify it on the actual website? Or you actually?
and then at the bachelor's level, do security, you understand what they're talking about.
Okay.
And Android application.
You know?
See, it's funny because like I'm good with
You actually know
the
the,
director for security. The only
stock
issue is just like
application, for example, like
I
some
don't
of the
like our
application you
infrastructure is just
download,
really like
they added
it's
some
old
of the
and
stuff, like
sketchy,
when you're
and I
using
know
that
that
app, it
the-
But
pop-up
listen, if you can
advertising
get
or
in
stuff
there
like
with
that.
them,
So it kinda.
that
I
would
don't
be a
want that
big
to pop
break.
up, so
Okay.
You know,
I just
the thing is, most people
You
can't
know
get that.
what?
But you're at least in a
what? I
company
don't
that
have
will,
the experiment
even though you might not
Yeah,
have,
you have so much
it's hard to get in companies like that.
You should look it up.
That's true.
You know, so, you know, if you can get into security, that would be great.
Okay.
You know, so I don't trash them until,
No, I wasn't like not necessarily trashing, but like perfect example. Like we're helping with something right now. I'm like, this isn't even in my pay grade, and let me stop. But you're right. Let me not.
but you know something, if I only did what I got paid for,
That's true. It wouldn't.
yeah.
I always do think job security, and it's good experience. I do like the experience.
Yeah, you know, it'll.
Hey,
Like,
you're welcome over to
You can sign up.
Alright, let me edit that.
Should I sign up?
Okay.
It might be fun. You get with the team. If nothing more, you just you create connections, have fun.
I'm probably like a brick, so I'd rather just watch.
Oh no, you probably wouldn't be a brick because remember they have people that does ideas, organize things, do the videos for the presentation. There's all kind of possibilities that you could be used for.
Okay.
You know, but the other thing is maybe someone has an idea of an Android program you've never seen that before, and they already have some background in it. And you're watching them and help build an Android.
I switched the battery once already.
I'm sorry, I was wondering if I need to sign up for it or not.
You don't need to sign up. You can come, but you can sign up there. But if you're going to come, join it.
This happened last year, so might as well.
From 1 p.m. to
1 p.m.
Oh, okay, which is 24.
Right.
Okay, Professor, do you ever double check if I really need that people from you to take to my boss in Hilton and that I can join the
that's on the U certified, you'll find it right there.
The
I'm just like, I couldn't find
IT team. Remember I spoke to you
Right,
about
right,
that.
but I don't know what paper to give you.
But they tell him, because I remember that in my program when I met with you for the first time, and you told me that that program will offer internship, you know, if I ever want to go somewhere.
Well, we can't guarantee it, but, you know, because we can't always say there's going to be an internship. But I got to look to see if your degree requires an intern. Okay, if it does, you're in the 2-year degree, right?
Right.
Okay, you're going to go to Lauren and get the letter to I don't know what letter they need.
Yeah, they simply wants to know, I guess, pretty much if I am here in the school, taking that course, approved from whomsoever, I have to approve it from here and take it to them, that they can validate it and say, hey, okay, that this guy is taking this class, and they will allow me to just to do internship with them, because I feel like by doing this with them will give me more knowledge of, open my eyes a little bit of what we do here.
Right.
Although
Now, but normally the internship is done in your last semester.
The last one?
Yeah, that's normally how it's done.
I remember I spoke to the lady next door that you sent me over. I don't know. Lauren, and she told me that I could do it last semester. I could start doing it. This is what she told me when I was trying to be registered.
Right.
And from there, I have never followed with her, and I say I will follow with you since you are an advisor as well. You can tell me what's going on. But if you do not take a look at it,
I can look at it, but you know, I just want to make sure that it's a required for your degree, and if it is,
but if it's not required, you still cannot help me out to get done. And
we've got to get Lauren to replace another class with the internship class. So you take you will take one less other class. Because we can't make you take too many classes.
No, absolutely.
You can only take 60 credits. So if your degree doesn't have the internship, we got to get rid of another class to replace it.
Okay. Because I feel like that will really help, because Hilton really want to help me with. In fact, that if I have enough knowledge, I will be joining the team over there, because I could. Me and the general manager at the Diplomat have a good relationship, and I tell him this is where I would like to build my career as a networker.
Right. And you're still cooking?
Yes, I am still
okay.
That will push me, by building experience with them, not only in the theory side, also in the physical side.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but you come in early enough so I can look that up.
What time are you going to be here tomorrow? Because I take tomorrow off just to join that.
Tomorrow's probably not going to be a good day.
Okay.
Just because it's going to be hectic.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I
listen. So here's my plan. I'm going to get there at 10.
Mm-hmm.
At 12:30, I have to go to the Votech school for a meeting with them. Then I'm going to get back, and I'll be here till maybe 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to come back around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then hang out probably till 2, and then come back again the next morning around 9ish.
I know Saturday I won't be for the morning. I could hang out until 9. I could be there 1 and bring my food and hang out until 9 o'clock. So if you think there's no way that you and I can see each other.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do. There's no all advisors.
But anyway, I'll be here tomorrow, and I will leave just as you said, just come over and see what's going on.
Right. And the other thing is, just don't come right before class starts. Come a little early. Let me pull it up. If it's not there and you want it, we'll talk to Lauren and get it added. But generally, it's done at the end.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's wise to do it at the end because you know more, because you went through all the other classes.
Right.
Because if you don't know a lot and you go to an internship, you just might waste your time.
Okay. Last things to ask you. Now there's a couple steps which is a lot of steps that I missed here. When I go back and look through the video, would I be able to? No. I know the library.